I mean, that should be no surprise considering, well, I was going to say Kakao Games, but Prolibus. No, wait, is Prolibus? Yeah, Prolibus, I believe, is from South Korea too.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure too. I don't know why I don't know that. Wow, I fail as at even being Korean. So yeah, they have a
Consider hitting the subscribe button down below, as well as the bell notification right next to it. Thank you.
All right, we always start off with our daily quest. Okay, a little bit of stuff from us to help you out on your way, because who's better to do that than your Trinity Game Masters, okay? Big news, and you'll hear about it later, about Final Fantasy XIV and their latest expansion coming out. So we'll talk more later. Shepard's Online, for those who have watched me play this game on Tuesdays, my friend Not Fred. Not for a while now, because the internet sucks. Well, anyways, apparently Midnight Deaths is coming to PTS, the final chapter of the game's current arc, with a challenging new foe and a character from lore to arrive. Yeah, okay, no. Google shuts down their internal game development studio, so I guess probably no Stadia stuff from them. Activision Blizzard had their earnings call. Of course, there is a BlizzCon coming up, but hey, they decided to let everybody know anyways that Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 is not coming this year. And then they're still working on the Diablo mobile game. And now they're doing a Warcraft mobile game too. So guess what? After all, we all have mobile phones, right? All right. Mass Effect Legendary Edition remaster is coming out on May 14th. So if you're so inclined to give money to BioWare, that you can do that. And if you want to, you can buy the edition that actually comes with the N7 helmet, the actual Shepard helmet. What is really sad, in my opinion, is that the $150 buys you the helmet, a wonderful steel case, but no game. Want the game? You got to buy it extra. Okay, so yeah.
Sorry.
Love BioWare.
I mean, yeah.
Reaching into your pocket and taking everything.
It looks
like they're
really
an EA
good.
subsidiary or something.
It looks really good, obviously cleaned up and everything. And I don't know what else. I know that the voice actress for Shepard, famous actress, what's her name? Jennifer Hale is really excited. Anyway, so all right, but that's my dailies. Okay, so I'm gonna pass it off to Jujazia for some of his.
Well, for this week, I've just got, technically, I was going to say both World of Warcraft, but one is Blizzard. So, kind of. This week, we got the World of Warcraft Lunar Festival is going on. And, of course, this being the Year of the Ox, they put out a Lucky Yun mount if you pay for your 6-month subscription. So,
of course,
the mount, I will say, very cool. I like it. It looks great. It's got kind of a funky little animation to it too when you spawn it, because your character like shrinks down next to it and it looks huge, and then you end up on top of it and it shrinks down. It's weird, but the mount looks amazing, really. I love it, but man alive, the way they do these things. And of course, what's going to happen is in about 3 months, they're probably, if they haven't already, I haven't even checked the shop, it might already be on there for $25-$30. So if you don't want to pay for 6 months because you've got other games you're looking at playing, getting kind of bored of Shadowlands at this point, then maybe you don't want to do that because you might be taking a break here soon. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll be on the shop and you'll be able to buy it separately at some point.
It's a flying mount. It's a flying.
It is a flying mount, but of course we can't fly in Shadowlands, so you'll be just fine on the ground. But in the other past expansions, if you have flying unlocked, or you were lucky enough to be one of those people that just started playing the game and you never had to unlock it like the rest of us, you're cool. You got to get you a nice flying mount, and like I said, it does look cool. And if you want to pay the 6 months, then more power to you. But I plan on taking a break sometime soon to go back to ESO for a little bit. Anyway, it is Blizzard's 30th anniversary, and they have three celebration collections that give you all kinds of goodies, ranging from that's pretty cool, in different packs that go across all of their games, ranging from $20, $40, and $60. Again, there's some cool stuff in the $60 one.
Isn't it all virtual? I looked at
It's
that.
all
Isn't it all virtual?
It's all virtual. You don't get like a T-shirt or a hat or a flag or a banner or anything sent to you in the mail. It's all virtual.
all virtual.
It's things like for Diablo 3, you get a different pair of wings that you can put on your character. You've got a couple of different things for this game that I'm, for some reason, still wearing this Heroes of the Storm t-shirt, even though it's in maintenance mode pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
You get a couple of things for that. I think one of them's a mount. And you get some other, like a pet and whatnot for World of Warcraft. But what Kenneth just said is kind of where I'm at with this stuff now. I'm like, okay, so I've got nothing to show for shelling out $60, which is relatively the cost of a full game, although I don't know about that anymore. Seems like games are ranging up into the hundreds at this point, depending on which company. EA was mentioned, BioWare earlier. So the collections are cool. I'm not going to completely talk them down, but it's really only if you're really a big fan of, I would say, at least 3 of the games that they have out, because it is, it's just little things strewn throughout, including Overwatch and StarCraft 2 and all of those. And I believe even there was something for remastered on there, which, as you all know, I refunded, never repurchased. So anyway, congratulations, Blizzard. That's an awesome achievement. There's a lot of game studios that were around back then that are not with us anymore. A lot that came after you that are no longer around. That got ate up by bigger companies or just folded completely and went into the history books. So hey, congratulations. That's awesome. I may buy the $20 pack. I don't know. I don't think you're hurting for money. As much money as I've put into Blizzard all these years, including t-shirts.
Tell Activision that.
Yeah, well, that's true. I think Activision is.
You could argue that
we'll be
Blizzard,
nice. We'll be nice.
You could argue that Blizzard's been dead for a while.
Yeah, there are people that. Man, I can't argue with it.
Yes, there are people. Yes.
Yes. I say it with this tear. It's not the same Blizzard that it was in the late 90s and early 2000s, I will say. And all those guys have as if you've been watching our show and you've been watching Solomon's shows, you'll know that most of those guys, the old Blizzard that we remember and cherish and have fond memories of, those guys have all gone off and created their own studios lately. So really looking at those guys. We'll see where they go though. But anyway, that's all I've got for this week.
Sounds good. All right, Solomon, what dailies you got for us?
Gosh, I came out with like an episode every single day. And looking back, it was just all RPG news. There really hasn't been a ton of MMO news, but hang on. Oh, so I found this a little funny. Amazon's next CEO. They said we'll try and keep making good games eventually. If you didn't know, Jeff Bezos
is out.
Yeah, he's stepping down this summer, but he's not gone completely. He's still like the executive vice chair of blah, whatever the title is. He's not gone, but new CEO. We'll eventually make a hit game, and hopefully his promises come true. I don't know.
I thought it was surprising they actually had to make mention of this. It's like, I guess the guy comes from the AWS side of things and not the game studio, but they actually literally have to make a statement about that, which I thought was interesting.
Maybe the article that you mentioned last week really did a number on their reputation or something.
Yeah, might have. Yep.
But either way, like if they're gonna make a good game, they probably should just ease into it and just start publishing, like, instead of developing. That's why I really feel like their first step should be publishing ArcAge. I mean, of course you could still screw it up, but I mean it's better than what they've done so far in unreleasing a game because it was so bad. But anyways,
rest in peace. Was it Crucible?
Yeah, it was actually.
Rest in peace.
Let's see. Skyforge finally came out to the Nintendo Switch a few days ago, which is really nice, but unfortunately it's not cross-platform compatible, so you can only play with other people who play the Switch. You can't play with people who are playing it on the PlayStation or the PC, unfortunately. Magic Legends started to sell bundles already before the beta begins, which is sort of
the beta.
Cash grabby a little bit, but then again, like, no one should be surprised. This is Perfect World Entertainment we're talking about, for the better or for worse. I'll leave that up to your guys' discretion. But yeah, this bundle is half off, and even at half off is $40, and so it's just insane that there's bundles that are $80 right now normally.
What are you trying to buy? Like a spaceship in game or something?
I think it's just all cosmetics right now, but I wouldn't. Items that could help you level, that kind of stuff, I wouldn't put it past them. Again, I don't know if this is a game that's going to be supported by its whales like they do with Star Trek Online, but I guess that's neither here nor there.
World wouldn't do pay to win stuff.
What?
A bunch of Final Fantasy XIV stuff has also been released, like patch 5.45, but I'll let Lurkor go over that. Yeah, I think that's. Oh, and this isn't okay. So, lastly, this isn't MMO news, but I thought I'd mention this anyways because it's such a huge franchise and a series that everybody really loves. But apparently, and take this with a grain of salt. This is a rumor. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild 2 is rumored to be released this year, actually, in second quarter. But depending on which calendar you're going by, like normal calendar second quarter or financial second quarter, it's different. Right. I'm guessing it's going to be financial second quarter because by then it at least gives them the time to finish developing the game and polish it, and it will be released by maybe September. In September, I don't know why second quarter and financially is like way at the end of the year, but again, take that with a grain of salt. I know Breath of the Wild 2 is a lot of is a favorite among a lot of Zelda fans out there, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted as I get more information.
All right, that sounds good. Now we're going to jump into this. All right, that is right. That means we're into the main story quest, where it's time for us to give you our MMO opinions. And because we have Lurkor here, we have the ultimate in quest. That's right. Yesterday, Friday, at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, they did the Final Fantasy XIV announcement showcase, and they went and showed off the new expansion called Endwalker. Mm-hmm. Okay, naturally, got a bunch of the Final Fantasy people really excited and happy. What I thought was most interesting is you always love the YoshiP conferences. He always makes fun of it. There's also, like Lurkor pointed out to me, hidden meanings in the t-shirts he's always wearing. But what I thought most interesting is, and we'll talk more about this, right, was the fact that they said this is the end of the Hydaelyn Zodiark storyline. That while when Shadowbringers came out 5.0, it wasn't the end. It wasn't really into 5.3. I know that they mentioned 5.4 is coming out. But when 6.0 comes out with the new expansion, it's going to be over. And then from that point on, it's all new. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. They showed off one job called the Sage, but anyways, I'm gonna let Lurkor just drool all over this because he loves Final Fantasy XIV. I'm not a hater, as even though he calls me a hater. You know, it's just not mine to say my cup of tea as an MMO. I do give kudos and props to Square Enix for always doing good stuff. Their game after it crashed and burned at the very beginning, Realm Reborn was a lot better because after all, they were very arrogant back then, saying, "You don't need to jump." I was like, "Oh, whatever, okay. You don't know how to play games, do you?" Right? So, anyways, got a lot of better. Anyways, Lurkor, take it away. Let us know what you think and what I missed in my brief description.
Yeah. So, like Kenneth said, and Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker is being released. It's going to be released in fall of this year, which came out to a surprise for all of us. Just because we know that they've been hit by COVID and all that stuff. So they said that they had to cut some corners, but even then they're still gonna release it this year. Me and my friends weren't actually thinking it was going to be this year, but we're obviously extremely happy. The level cap's being raised to 90, 80 before, so just going up by 10. But with this, they're actually going to do a stat squish. World of Warcraft,
really?
Yeah. World of Warcraft has been known to do stat squishes quite a bit, right? I think we've done 3 or so, maybe.
3 sounds right.
Yeah.
So you're saying stat squish, not level squish.
Yeah, stat squish.
Okay.
So YoshiP actually spent a lot of time explaining why they were going to do a stat squish, mainly stating that it was going to be like from a programming side, to avoid bugs, and they've been able to do hot fixes around them, but they were just letting everyone know that you're still going to get your power gains, but they're just not going to be as much, just so that they can expand into the future. Yeah, and like Ken mentioned, there's going to be a whole new story, obviously, and this is going to be the end of the Realm Reborn arc. So for the past 10 years, they've kind of been building up the battle between Zodiark and Hydaelyn, and as you go through the game, I mean, the story started off kind of meh in the original expansion. In a Realm Reborn, but it's gotten better and better over time, and this conclusion is going to be really epic. And like you said, it's going to end right at 6.0. Normally for an expansion's lifespan, the story kind of has like a climax at like in the like 2.0 3.0 sort of thing, but the final expansion's like plot points kind of end in the 0.3 patch, and so we're gonna see the end of it in 6.0, which is gonna be really cool. Right now, the new job. So the new job is gonna be a healer. It's called the Sage. They use like these really cool like floating aether devices to do their attacks and healing, and they took a very interesting approach to this. So if you've been playing Final Fantasy XIV, they have 3 healers currently, and that's the White Mage, the Scholar, and the Astrologian. And they've been trying to do a balance of these 3 healers. First, you have the White Mage, which is known as like a pure healer in the sense where your heals are meaty, you like have great reactions and stuff. But the Scholar was more of a damage prevention sort of thing, where you went like shields and barriers, and so and Astrologian was like a mix between the two. They tried to with like a lot of utility, and for balancing purposes they never really got it quite right. So what they mentioned in this one is that as far as healing goes, they were going to to separate the healers into 2 different categories, and that was barrier healers and like pure healers.
Okay,
so
makes sense.
Super interested to see like where they go as far as like balancing that goes. They've done a really good job of balancing in the game in general, as far as like because it's very PvE focused. Obviously there isn't much PvP in Final Fantasy XIV, so I think they've been able to hit some really good some good like balance between all the classes, but things have gotten a little bit out of hand. So
Well, no, I know you tend to play healers, okay? Which is your favorite healer?
I play White Mage normally.
White Mage?
Yeah. Just having big heals and like a reactive playstyle has fit me personally, but there's a lot of like the other two healers are very cool, and if you haven't tried any of them, then you should. They're great.
So we're just saying. So how do you think the Sage is going to hold up to the other three that you've played before?
I honestly think that they're gonna that we're gonna see a lot of different changes as far as the healers go. I don't expect Scholar and Astrologian to come out this being the same class that they are right now, because of like the shift in how they want to like separate the two healers. Obviously this is pure speculation, I have no information on that, but I expect White Mage will probably stay pretty similar. I think that they're pretty happy with where it is, but the two other healers are going to go through some radical changes to kind of fit both those roles that they want to do. They said that they're going to announce the second job at a later date, but he said that they were going to give us the role for it, and it's going to be melee DPS. They ran into a lot of controversy back when they announced Dancer because they didn't announce what role it was going to be, and a lot of people thought it was going to be a healer, and so they got some flack from some flack from the community that it wasn't a healer, and so they wanted to nip that in the bud this time. You can really kind of see like that the team kind of has like their ears open to like community feedback and stuff with this.
They've been credited for that a lot. Now, people have been talking about Necromancer, and they gave a lot of hints during the stream. Do you think that is their hint? It's going to be a Necromancer, or you think that it's going to be something else still?
Well, so YoshiP's always been known to wear different T-shirts that give away hints to what the next class is going to be. They've been pretty spot on sometimes, but he wore a Spider-Man T-shirt one time, and the Spider-Man film that had been directed was by Sam Raimi, and the class was Samurai. So like the hints could be anywhere, like from like right on the nose to something incredibly obscure. So we're all just guessing right now. There's been, when you were fighting, there's been a couple of bosses. One of them's been a berserker and one of them's been a necromancer. So people were thinking like maybe we would go one of those two routes. But if it's going to be melee deep, people were thinking that if it was necromancer, it'd be some sort of caster. But if we're going melee, he wore a Sex Pistols documentary T-shirt, which had like a Grim Reaper on it, and then his second T-shirt that he wore in a later live letter was a Children of Bodom, so like death metal sort of feel to it. So we're all kind of at a loss as to where it's gonna go, but we're thinking maybe some sort of dark based melee, like a Reaper or something like that. Maybe even a melee necromancer. That could be cool.
We should put your Jazil on the mission. He's a expert in the music area, so we should check out those two T-shirts and see if he can find the actual hidden meanings that YoshiP was putting there.
Oh, I can do it.
All right, I'll send you the two T-shirts. All right, okay.
Okay.
We have our expert on the case.
Well, you know what's funny is that I never really watched an event before from Final Fantasy XIV, and watching this, and it's like, they go backstage. They show that he showed the clip from the Sage. He comes back wearing a different shirt. Like, I noticed that, and then his friend and his interpreter was like, "You change shirts?" It's like, "Yeah, I was getting too hot." Like, I want to talk about this? He goes, "No." It was like, it's like, and it's like, and later on, it's like, he's like, "Yeah, 10 years, for 10 years, and I'm not going away. Okay, I'll be doing Final Fantasy XIV until I die, probably after I'm dead too." And then the guy was like, "Oh, what, you're gonna be doing it from the grave? Oh, like a necromancer." And it's just like,
they do love to pull their community around for sure. It's really great. But yeah, so there's gonna be new areas. We're gonna be able to visit Resident and Thavnair, which are two things that we've seen in like gear and kind of know about, but we never actually got to see. We're also going to go to Garlemald, which is been one of the big antagonists. But if you've been following the story, they're currently in a civil war. And what they showed was just kind of a post-apocalyptic wasteland of just war-torn, like a war-torn place. So pretty excited to go visit what's over there. And lastly, they said that we're going to go to the moon.
Yeah,
so,
I wanted to. You saw the trailer. I saw the trailer, okay, and I'm like, wait a minute, the moon.
Elon Musk is taking us to the moon.
Now, how does the moon fit into the lore of Final Fantasy XIV? And this, why was this whole why we going to the moon anyways? This guy was standing on the moon without a space suit. So I'm like,
Yeah. So we've seen interactions between NPCs in cutscenes on the moon before. It's kind of because we have these kind of larger than life enemies that we've been fighting called the Ashians. And so we know that they have some sort of connection to the moon. As far as how we're going to get there, there's only speculation. And I don't think Elon Musk is going to send us all to that via Final Fantasy XIV. So yeah, but Final Fantasy XIV is not the first Final Fantasy game to go to the moon. Final Fantasy IV also sent characters to the moon. So so yeah, that should be very interesting. As always, there's going to be a new Alliance raid, which is a 24-person raid. There's going to be a new high-end raid, which is going to be an 8-person raid. Those are the two, those are like the heroic mythic versions of the, that sort of thing. There's going to be new dungeons. There's going to be new primals, which are like one-shot bosses. They said that one of them is going to be Anima, which is from Final Fantasy X, one of the of the big add-ons from Final Fantasy X. Yeah. Yeah. If you remember the NPC, the guy Seymour Guado, it was his Anima. He summoned it, and it was incredibly powerful. And one of the little anecdotes that they told was that the guy that designed Anima for Final Fantasy X actually works on the art team for Final Fantasy XIV, and he did another design for it, which is really cool. So super excited.
For those who don't know, Final Fantasy X is the only one that I actually played the entire game, but didn't quite down the final boss. I had help with it, but played the entire game. So the other Final Fantasies I've not played fully. We dabbled a little bit in Final Fantasy XI, didn't go very far. 14 I played a bunch with, obviously not as much as Lurkor. And then I've not played 15, but yeah, it was interesting that Final Fantasy X. So they mentioned a new area called Island Sanctuary. What is that?
So we don't know what that's actually going to be, but some people have been joking that it's going to be Stardew, Final Fantasy Stardew, or something like that. They mentioned being able to raise animals, let your little mini pets or minions run around.
It's like Pandaria.
And it looked like yeah, it looked like they were going to be growing crops. Maybe you've been able to grow crops in the game already. So a lot of people are excited for that, actually.
And I also noticed they say you now can have Ishgard housing.
Correct. So Final Fantasy XIV has housing, and there is 4 wards currently, or 4 different places that you can buy based around the main cities. And the main city that you haven't been able to purchase housing with is Ishgard, and there's been a large-scale crafting event that has been going on this entire expansion, where it's called the Restoration of Ishgard, because Ishgard is a city that has been ravaged by thousands of years of war between humans and dragons, and so you as a crafter were helping rebuild it, and you could see, and you built it up, and now they are finally going to enable people to buy houses there. So that's exciting.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right.
One of the last things that I'll mention is for Final Fantasy XIV is being released on the PS5. It's going into beta on April 13th. And if you own Final Fantasy XIV for the PS4, then you can upgrade to the PS5 for free. So that's cool.
That's cool. So Zero-san, you got any questions or anything you want to know about Final Fantasy XIV from Lurkor while he's here?
No, not really.
I guess not. I'll just give you a shot, you know, if you wanted to ask.
I had to look it up because now this is going way back.
Yeah.
But I remember a former roommate of mine, and I used to play Tactics a lot, Final Fantasy Tactics, and I thought I remembered the Sage being one of the jobs that you could have in that game, but I just looked it up and it doesn't list it. So
I think
I'm
I want to say my friends were talking about the Sage being part of Tactics Advance or something, and it was
advanced. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and it was, I think they said it was like either like someone that does like large, like wide, like large, like full area like spells, or
Right.
it was like a mix between white and black mages. I didn't play it personally.
Yeah, I mostly watched my roommate play it. I did play quite a bit of it, but I was more at that point in time. I was a little bit more into shooters, believe it or not. So,
Yeah, it says
I
Final
just-
Fantasy Tactics Advance.
yeah,
That's
it must
great.
have been advanced then. Okay, and I was remembering correctly. I just looked up the wrong game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Final Fantasy VII was my favorite, though. I love that storyline, and the remake was just awesome. But
I still need
I
to
don't
play that.
know. With this coming out and kind of entering a new era, so to speak, it almost makes me want to try it again. But it's like every time I try it, I'm like really excited and happy and enjoying it for the first couple days, and then it just diminishes immediately after that. And I think part of it is not playing with other people. Possibly that has a lot to do with it. Is you know, you do enjoy MMOs. They're made to play with other people, and I think every time that I have tried to play it, it's been, you know, just me, myself, and I, which you know, that can be fun for a little bit, but you can only, well, I would say you can only talk to yourself for so long, but I can actually do it for a pretty remarkably long time.
Well, me too, because we're streamers, okay? So yeah,
Right.
you know what's interesting about that is that I agree with you. That's all usually why I play MMOs, and I know that I'm always behind the curve in my free company, you know, that I'm with, and they're always ahead of me than I am, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, and I get that. And that's the thing is, one thing always bothers me about Final Fantasy XIV is the fact that you have to do group quests, group dungeons, right, to advance the storyline.
Right.
You cannot do it solo. You have to join a team. And so, you know, Heaven's Word was the last one I got. Okay, I did not get the second one. After that, I also did not get Shadowbringers. And so this one comes in. You have to go through those story arcs before you can do Endwalker. That's always going to be the closing point for new people sometimes.
Final Fantasy XIV has one of the highest barriers of entry to get to the end game, I would say, if not out of all the MMOs that I've played, where because everything is tied to that main story quest, you can feel really bogged down, especially in the story quests that aren't actually that well written. The writing has gotten way better over time, and starting with Realm Reborn's writing is not that great, and the voice acting is also not that great. But you know, and they made better and better strides. But when they have you play through each of the expansions patches as well. So it's once you hit level 50, you're not going straight to the next expansion. You hit level 50, and then you need to, you know, see the progression of like who the Scions are, like who these other people are. You have to follow these main story quests, and when they're not really well written, it can really bog down you trying to catch up with your friends. So that's why I say like Final Fantasy XIV has always had like the highest barrier of entry in that regard. You can buy story skips, but at that point you're missing out on so much that you're like, why do I care about these people? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV is a good game. Don't be wrong, okay? I mean, I always see when I talk about the fact that there's so many different games out there, I like that there's a different variety for people who want to play. You know, I remember, so this is me again, my memory, okay? about Lurkor is that sometimes in the past it used to be squirrel, like he'd be playing WoW, and we'd be doing great. We're raiding, and he's moving on. I'm like, what? You haven't finished playing WoW yet? Well, I'm ready on something else, and that's fine. Okay, guess why? Now he said, the roles are reversed now. You're the one who goes squirrel. You're trying all the different games all the time now. Okay, I said just sticking with one game. I go, oh. So I guess it reverses as we get older, right? So that they always say that your kids pick up your habits. Maybe it happens the other way around too. I don't know. But Final Fantasy XIV is always a fun game. And I always criticize its music. And I went to a concert, and I realized this is really good music. It really is. I mean, and people get a lot of credit for it. And that's the thing about Final Fantasy, both the writing, Square Enix, and every time you hear people talk about this game, it isn't just the game itself; it's what's behind it. Like say the writing, the music, maybe the voice acting, but also just the way that Square Enix, listens to their community. And so, yeah, that's pretty good.
It's really become a force in the MMO world, kind of just in general. There is on Twitch yesterday, there was 100,000 people watching that announcement showcase. And you can see its influences on even like World of Warcraft, where World of Warcraft kind of adopted that same sort of like main story quest sort of like formula going into like I really felt it in BFA, where they had you like doing stuff like that. And so I mean it's very interesting to see like what it's like the impact that it's had on MMOs in general.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Any last things for questions about Final Fantasy XIV, guys?
I could keep talking forever.
I know. Sorry. All right, we'll go into the next thing.
Cut me off.
You've been cut off. Now we're into this. All right. Now we're going to do an X quest. This is basically, we're going to try to lead you, okay, more than what Lurkor just did for Final Fantasy XIV, lead you to safety, XP, and the adventure of a lifetime. So given this, and I kind of prepped it a little bit, we'll ask Lurkor first this question, okay, because I know that he does play a variety of different classes, right? But it's like, what is your favorite? The tank, healer, or DPS? Talk about the one of the Trinities in MMOs, okay? Hank. Here's Hank again. Tank, healer, or DPS? Which one do you prefer playing the most, Lurkor?
Well, I main healer right now. But I don't know if that's my favorite to play, to be completely honest. I think for me it really depends on the way that the class is implemented, more so than like the role that it is. Sometimes, though, I do realize that I do really like big numbers, so maybe it's going to be DPS for me. I love big numbers.
Well, so if you had DPS, what's your most favorite character of any game you played that you liked DPS wise?
Oh, of every game that I've liked?
Any game, yes. Any game across all the spectrum.
Well, from World of Warcraft, I would say my favorite DPS was always Warrior.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Being able to charge is one of the gap closers or something that I really enjoy. Probably more so than it needs to be like deserved as far as things go, but I love gap closers. In Final Fantasy XIV, my current DPS main is Samurai, and gap closer, big numbers, fun rotation, all three. Yeah, man.
All right. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I mainly played all three classes. My favorite tends to be tank because it's like I feel like I'm the guy who used to rush forward. Even when I'm playing a DPS clothy, I'm always feeling like saying in the back is just terrible. When I was playing Rust last night with the GMA community, we did a attack on an oil rig. They were like, Kenneth, just stand in the back, because I didn't have enough gear or weapons, right? But stand in the back, I'm like, this feels weird, like I'm a coward, okay? Being in the back, I don't like that, but Solomon, which do you prefer to playing? What is your favorite? Healer, tank, DPS? And then out of all that, what's your favorite character you ever played at all?
I actually really don't have a favorite. It just depends on the game. I used to play the game that was, back when MMOs actually utilized the Trinity more so than than they do today. It was always the tank that was always in need. when you had to do dungeons and raids and stuff like that. So I would generally play tanks like all the time because nobody else wanted to play the tank, and so I got into every group. But I did that out of necessity, not necessarily because it was my favorite thing to do. You could always go back and make alts and just kind of do your own thing at the same time, which is always nice. But then, you know, I had more time back then, so I don't necessarily have, you know, could do that these days, obviously. But yeah, in terms of favorite, I don't know. That's a good question. Honestly, nothing really sticks out. I mean, I like the smuggler in Star Wars: The Old Republic. I find that to be incredibly enjoyable because like it was like one of the biggest AoE damage classes in the game. The Musa from Black Desert Online is always fun. Me being from South Korea, I thought it was really cool to actually play a class where dang it, Dad.
We lost him.
What?
Oh no.
No, wait a minute. I'm still here.
No, now you're me now. Lurkor is Ken and
Well, turn your computer back on.
I know.
Turn your camera back on.
My camera is on. That's what I don't get. Like, hang on a minute. This is weird.
Your Discord camera isn't on.
Well, yeah, I get that. I'm like trying to do several things here. Pop it out again. I don't get this. I had my Discord is. Am I still streaming still? Huh?
Yeah, you're still on.
All right. So something happened. See, this Discord does it all. The reason why I'm doing this, by the way, is because my camera has problems with Discord. You know, that's why I've been doing it this way. It works better. So now I gotta go back over here. I'm gonna go back to my actual Discord here. It's on my OBS virtual camera. Test video. It's okay. I don't get it. Why? I gotta go. That's weird. Sorry, Solomon.
It's too late. We have to end the show now. It's really
I end the show now.
Yeah.
All right. So you were saying the smuggler in SWTOR you like the most.
That and like again the me being from South Korea, I really like the idea of having a class that resembles some of the historic warriors that
oh yeah,
that they have in Black Desert Online. I mean, that should be no surprise considering, you know, well, I was gonna say Kakao Games, but Perlibis. No wait, is Perlibis? Yeah, Perlibis I believe is from South Korea too.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure too. I don't know why I don't know that. Wow, I fail as at even being Korean. So yeah, they have a lot of classes that resemble their the historical warriors and stuff like that. Particularly from there. I mean, because again, like I think, I gotta word this carefully. Like playing a samurai and stuff like that is cool, but like, you know, Japanese culture tends to, you know, be pretty popular amongst Western games and stuff like that. But like Korean, even Chinese to some extent, certainly a lot of Southeastern Asian countries tend to get overlooked in my opinion. But I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying like I find that super interesting to see something that you don't see every day. So yeah, I probably pick those two. Those are probably the ones that stick out
that's cool
in my mind.
That's cool. I mean, the guy I played the most, you know, for World of Warcraft was a druid. I liked the fact that this druid could be tank and DPS, go back and forth. Did not make it a restro druid, so I wasn't really healing, but it was kind of fun to go back and forth and fly. And naturally, when you play about SWTOR as a Jedi, I like playing a Jedi, you know, but it wasn't always the best class overall. Right. I played a healer in WoW. You know, so I'm a guy who takes it to tank only because I feel like you said, nobody else wants to do it. I'll do it. Whenever people put the groups together, like people always say, I'll do this, this, and this. Like, well, who wants to be a tank? And I say, well, I'll be a tank. I mean, I don't mind it. My first character in MMO from Archage of Camelot was a paladin. I mean, that's just fit more of my character seemed like. So Jazil, about you? Tank, healer, DPS, and what was your favorite overall, whatever class it was?
Well, there's some variations here, but I enjoy kind of more hybridish kind of characters, mainly DPS, but that are able to swap. You just mentioned Druid. That's one of them that that's currently what my main is in World of Warcraft. And the reason for that is I like being able to fill any role that's needed at the moment.
Okay.
And being on a character such as a druid, that you have the secondary affinities that you can do and hop into that real quick in a pinch where your healer or your tank have bit the dirt, and and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you've got a bunch of clothies running around going, oh, my hair's on fire, and it's like, you
Wait,
know, it's really
how'd
just
they
a
go?
great feeling to know, oh, my hair's on fire. It's a great feeling to know that I can pop into that affinity and help out the group and keep us alive. I've got a battle res, because there's some classes that have reses, but they can't do it during battle. So that's kind of cool. Again, that's if you have the affinity for doing healing. And you know, I don't need mounts because I am the mount. You know,
Yeah.
I could fly. I can turn into a mount. Well, even my flight form now, since Legion, I can have someone hop on my back and I can fly them, or I can do the green mount that they can hop on my
Wow.
back. And
Didn't know
yeah,
that.
it's just little things like that. Plus the utility of it. There's so many different little tools that you got that are just absolutely brilliant at being able to help the group out to mitigate damage and keep, you know, crowd control, I should say. For some reason, my mind started to go blank there. You know, with my, you know, being able to do entangling roots and all that. Now, a year ago, I would have said warlock, just because even on Elder Scrolls Online, I do the necromancer, and I've always played like necromancers and warlocks type characters, even if they weren't called that. That's what basically they were, because I'm evil, I guess. No, that's not it. I don't know. I just like that. Man, they take a little ramp up. Those type of classes normally have you know, utilization of dots, but man, you can pour them on and just watch the, you know, the bosses especially just melt. And it's just so powerful feeling to, to be able to do that. Plus, they often have a lot of utility for your group in there. Not just health stones, or being able to port people to the group, although those things are very cool. Yeah. And you know, I enjoy the lore of those as well. Now, I will say this is kind of a third one, and I didn't really play it as much as I did. Actually, I don't even remember what the last main that I had on Guild Wars 2, but the engineer is just such a unique class, and it is just so fun. If I ever do return to it, which I've been saying I was going to for like the last 6 months, but then we, you know, GMA started playing Rust, and now I'm doing Rust, ESO, and WoW, and I started playing City Skylines again in the evenings as kind of my wind down game. So I got my hands full. Eventually, I'll go back to Guild Wars 2, especially now that they've dug themselves out of the grave, and they've got an expansion on the way, and things are looking pretty good. You know, I might tinker around with that class. Tinker. Oh boy,
That was a good one.
Pun wasn't intended initially, but we'll play like I was that witty. But
Well, that's
yeah,
pretty cool.
but if I had to nail it down, I would say it's more of a hybrid kind of class. The paladin or big time the druids seem to always, and most MMOs that they're a part of, that they just have such great utility and that ability to tank, to heal, or to do DPS. They're never on the top of the charts, or well, actually, they are right now in World of Warcraft. Depending on which boss fight it is, they are. But because they're hybrid, they're usually not at the top. But I'm okay with sustained, reliable damage, even if it's a little bit lower, instead of being bursty and relying on RNG, because my RNG is just, I don't know. I've got a cloud over my head when it comes to that. So I really enjoy it for all those reasons.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. Solomon is letting us know by virtue of his movements that he's getting close to going to work. So we're going to finish up anyway. So thank you so much for that escort. We hopefully got you to safety and it gets some experience and hopefully an adventure of a lifetime. All right. We hopefully add to that, but some world bosses or world events, whatever you want to call them. Okay. BlizzCon is coming up February 19th and 20th. And they say day one kicks off at 2 p.m. Pacific time. It's a bunch of stuff they're announcing, even though what more are they going to announce? They've already did the whole earnings report. And then day two is at noon Pacific time. So we're going to do that too. And then assuming that Amazon doesn't go crash and burn with regards to AGS and New World is coming out in May, we're going to do that one too. So join us. We plan on streaming the BlizzCon stuff as much as we can and at least talk about it and be there. And then that's on a Friday. Obviously, I'm off on Friday, so that's kind of cool. So we'll see how it plays out. That's it. We have completed our quests. We have cleared the dungeons. We have passed out the loot evenly, and with hopefully with a good amount of grace. Okay.
Ninja that.
And
I ninja that purple. Sorry, I'm leaving.
Again.
Bro, why do you keep inviting him to the dungeon?
I'm writing a ticket to Blizzard right now.
And the orders that we had from our crafting are complete. It's now time to go AFK. One of the first acronyms I think I ever learned playing in a MMO. I remember seeing that in the text box in Dark Age of Camelot. I go, what does AFK stand for? Away from keyboard. All right. I don't know if Solomon can hear us. Is he out for good?
No, I'm still here.
Right. Let us know where you can find you, Solomon, before you go.
RPGs.
You can find Solomon on YouTube.
I have to go to work.
I know. You can find Solomon Coffee and RPGs on the YouTube channel. Okay, it'll be in the link if you go. If you're seeing this in YouTube. Lurkor, thank you for coming on and being a spot guest with the Final Fantasy XIV. Is there any place you want to people can find you and follow you and whatnot?
Not really. Play Final Fantasy XIV. It's great.
There you go. That's the plug for that. Even though he's not playing it right. Well, no, he is playing it right now.
Yeah, I am currently knee deep in my relic quest. I have to do way too many dungeons. But
there you go. All right. And so Jaziel, where can we find you at?
Right now it's Rust and World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls Online, although the majority of my time is in World of Warcraft, and then Rust is second and ESO is third. That will change as we get closer to the expansion coming out for Elder Scrolls Online. Still haven't got anything figured out to be able to start streaming again, so we'll just say don't be looking for me to be live streaming other than this show right here. And you can catch me on Discord if you need to get a hold of me. And that's it.
Sounds good. I'm, of course, always Kennethan. Kennethan live on Twitter. Kennethan on Twitch was here. And I'll be playing a bunch of games too. Later on, after I turn the stream off, I'm going to do his restroom and come back to do MMO Saturday, play some more World of Warcraft. I did turn off my World of Warcraft subscription.
Oh.
But given that I have a 3-month sub, it doesn't kick out until April. So I have 2 more months to play. So I did not want to resub, for that. Yeah. So doing that, sorry?
I had gotten that Shadowlands launch money, and I had actually bought myself an extra month like a while ago.
Oh, nice.
Okay. The WoW tokens,
There you go. All right.
I mean, I think you should buy the 6-month sub for the mount.
Okay. So World of Warcraft, I've also been playing, if you've been watching me, some Rust. You've also seen me play some Iron Harvest. You also play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And of course, every Thursday is Train Thursday, where you can see me play some Railroad Tycoon Deluxe. You also can find me on the Agree Disagree show on Tuesdays on the GMA channel, Ministry channel, and Hear Me Out every Friday morning on Super Shadows channel. I think I might be stretching myself too thin. Who knows? All right. Anyways, it's been fun. Time to go fishing. I've never done video fishing, so I don't have any idea how that plays out. But anyway,
you just click a button and then you just AFK. It's pretty
wow.
great. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
Like literally doing it right now as we're streaming.
I guess the question is, are you ever not fishing, Solomon?
I horse train too, and
okay, all right.
do other AFK things. Hey, it's awesome making profit when you're at work or sleeping.
Oh no, it's fantastic. You come back and you're like, look at all these fish. I could sell this for. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that's not a bad idea, but I never got really got into BDO as much. So, all right, that's it. Thanks for joining us here. We'll be here next week of another episode of the Trinity MMO Show, and we'll give you some more information on MMOs and RPGs. And so, take care. God bless you guys, and we will see you then.